you're still that half. You're still that 0.5, looking for another 0.5 to make a whole, when that's not how it should be. You should be that whole person that is attracting the other whole person to make a better whole. And she was like, yeah, I really, I think I really definitely, I'm going to start looking at different counselors and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, that's good. Like, I hope you find, something that works for you, because
we used to have conversations for like at least 2 to 3. It got to the point, I swear, people used to be like, oh, are you guys dating? And it was like, bro, why can't people just have conversations without the, like, if you have a conversation with a girl longer than at least 30-40 minutes, I think people really start to think like, you guys are dating.
I can see why people would think that. But yeah, so welcome everybody. So, obviously you guys know me from Speak Your Life podcast, but here we're doing something a little bit different, a little bit more lax, chill, informal, just, having friends on, just talking, conversing, and not conversating, but conversing. And we're just talking about different topics, from friendships, relationships, what's going on in culture, media, politics, and how does it apply to our lives as we're millennials, but it can apply to anybody, honestly. You don't have to be a millennial, you don't have to be in your 20s, but it's just like life application, because I think, it's cool to just like, I see like different kinds of YouTube like topics that are out there, and channels that are dedicated to certain things, like celebrity junk and sports talk and all that stuff. But like, it's cool to talk about that, but I think it's cool to talk about it, but then bring it back, like, what purpose does it serve? Like, how can I apply this to my own life, So so we're gonna call this Life Counter Talks. And so Sasha, you want to give them the background story about like how this happened, this counter talk literally happened?
Okay, so I currently work.
Oh, this is Sasha. My bad.
So I work at a apartment building, kind of like concierge / security guard, and I'm at the front desk like all the time for like 12 hours out the day. And of course, Andre always comes downstairs. He used to live in the building. With a couple other people. Yeah, he used to live in the building with a couple other people. And he would always come down and have a conversation with me. And which was really interesting too, because a lot of people, I'm not trying to toot your horn, but a lot of people really don't have, especially like around our generation, like no one ever have like thought-provoking questions or even conversations that's like, that we can really be like, damn, that makes you think about a lot of different things. And you would come downstairs and you would just talk to me about so many different things. And I think it was kind of like really shocking for both of us that like, wow, you know this, I know that. It was like, damn, like, okay, cool. Like, it was like a cool vibe. And I was always sitting behind the counter. So I just figured, let's call it counter talks, because we always had like so many different conversations. Like literally, probably like, I think we had like at least like 3 times out the week. I think it was like about that. I think because
when I was furloughed, it was more.
Wow. Huh?
Either like when I was furloughed at at my company, it was even more. It was like 4 times, maybe 5. I don't know.
Yeah, like it was almost, and we used to have conversations for like at least 2 to 3. It got to the point, I swear, people used to be like, oh, are you guys dating? And it was like, bro, why can't people just have conversations without the, like, if you have a conversation with a girl longer than at least 30-40 minutes, I think people really start to think like, you guys are dating.
I can see why people would think that. It's reasonable. Because it wasn't just like, hey, how's the weather? Or, hey,
right.
What did you think about the sports team from yesterday or the Super Bowl?
That's true.
So,
but they always came at the end of it though. Like they didn't never come in the beginning. So I think that's what made them like, what's going on? Like, what's this?
Yeah, like Carol and everybody, all the flight attendants would be coming through. What's going on, y'all?
Yeah, they used to always ask me that all the time. Like, oh, are you guys? And I'm like, no, we're really not. Like, I think a lot of people felt that way. Like, anytime any man, because usually women don't really have long conversations with me. Like, most likely they will for a little bit, but it's like, all right, they'll just kind of just keep it pushing, which is nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But sometimes the guys will come down and have conversations with me or just passing by. And I think honestly, I shocked a lot of like, it's not so much younger guys. I think I shocked a lot of older men and older women from the conversations or the certain things that I knew. Not saying that I know like a whole lot or whatever, but just like the little information that I did know. I think it was shocking to a lot of people. Like, damn, like she really knows about that. Like, how do you know about this? And how do you know about that?
Don't try to downplay it.
Yeah, and I was just kind of like, I think a little bit comes from my parents, though. I'm gonna say a lot of it comes from my parents because I'm from that's a whole different generation. So,
I mean, I think we both learned, something from our parents, from like our friends, extended family, like all kinds of places, and like I think that when you can have those conversations, like especially when you like take an opportunity to like either read different things or like be exposed to different content and like not just the same old stuff, like, or sometimes people like to put us in a box like, oh, Black people can only listen to this kind of stuff or this kind of music or this, like, and then I think we were people that just didn't subscribe to those like boxes, and so we'll be talking about like I don't know, like super random stuff, like, and it's like the interests that we had were just like I guess not what is stereotyped in the Black community on TV or media. And so just we had just a broad range of different knowledge or just experiences, and I think that's what contributes to just those conversations and stuff like that. I don't know.
I mean, also, what were you gonna say?
No, I said just and just general life experience. So
yeah, I agree. Like, I think, I don't know, I guess coming from like both of our backgrounds, like first of all, like, and it's not to downplay anyone else how they were raised, but I think what kind of made us kind of look at things a little bit different or have like a different outlook is just being that we both have both of our parents in the household, and also both our parents are married. So those two things, I mean, first of all, we're both Black. Both our parents are in our lives. Not saying that like, not in a way where because I know there's, honestly, you can still have both of your parents in your lives, but I'm saying as far as in the household without having like co-parenting. And then on top of that, they were married, and I think that kind of plays a big part, or at least I guess that gives a different like perspective on how we see a lot of different things in the world because of how we were raised compared to someone who probably just come from a single family home or from a family who was divorced, and I'm not trying to downplay anyone, because I'm not saying like, oh, because we come from a family that was married or we have our two parents that we're better,
I mean, I said families with a lot of problems, each family, like your family had problems, I have problems, like I think that needs to be like spoken obviously, because just like no matter who you are, it's just like I think sometimes people maybe I think you're right in the sense of like there's just different perspectives about just different things on life, about how we look at things, and it's all when people generally have like maybe a similar upbringing or just like I don't know, like a similarities in their upbringing, then maybe there is more likely a higher likeliness of like we have like a genuine connection that's like, oh, we vibe, like that's cool, like she's pretty dope, like like, ain't just like oh, I'm all about my Instagram. Like which you are, but I mean, you do have your trouble side, but it's all good. But
no, it's so funny. It's so funny you say that because, like, you know, I had this conversation of probably like, I want to say like time flies so fast. I don't even know how long ago this was, probably like 2 to 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. But it's so crazy that you say this because I actually had this conversation with my dad. And I used to like go back and forth with him. Like, you know, he would say like, you know, you should date people, you know, like who, like not necessarily who you know, but like who have similar upbringings and the same race and whatever. And I was just like, oh, whatever. Like, Dad, you're just old. Like, you from a different generation, you know? Yeah. And now that you're saying that, but I'm just saying, like, naturally, you're more connected to people who have the same type of upbringing. Like, it's easier to raise children. It's easier to go about dating. I don't know if I'm like go about dating, raising children, like having those conversations. I'm not saying if you have a child, but just having that conversation. Yeah. And I'm speaking if you're having like, I'm talking about intention, like when you're dating with intentions. So like when you're having, like say if I'm dating you and I meet you, whatever, we're talking about like, oh, wow. So how was your upbringing? And you say, well, my parents were married. Oh, my parents were married. Okay. How was it? Like you might say, oh, well, they were Christian. Well, mine was Muslim, but there's still similarities. Sure. That kind of brings us close together. So it's like, okay, so how would you want to raise your children? Hypothetically, like we're just having conversation, and you'll be surprised how those little things really makes a difference. Like a lot of people don't think that. Like we sometimes go into like dating or talking to people, and we don't think that like, oh, a single parent person who come from a single parent home, you don't think that affects your life when you're dating or when you're going to have a family, because I might come from a family where I have both of my parents. You might come from a family where you only just have your mom or just have your dad. And I might know what it's like to have that, I guess,
experience or
or like that energy, like that the masculine and the feminine energy within the household and how that balance is. But when you only just have one parent, it's kind of like, I'm not saying that it can't work, but you see the difference. And it's like, okay, we might have to compromise on little things. We might have to change or we might kind of clash on certain things because you lack one thing in your household that I already have, or I know how it works. I don't know if that makes sense or if I'm saying
No, it does. And I think, and I've seen this with different friends that I have that, you know, dated, married, people, you know, some people, again, nobody can control their situation, like where they're born, you know, what family they came from, all this. Nobody can control that.
Right.
But it's all about, I think it's all about what do you do with it? That's what you really do. Because there are people who grow up with two parents in their household and they become school shooters, shooting up schools.
Facts.
And you always hear these, Johnny was such a good kid. He had two parents in the household. We don't know what went wrong. Yeah. I mean, you just never know. It's not about, I guess the question, you know, all those things, what you said are valid, but I think at the end of the day, I think what really matters is not what your circumstances are, but rather, what do you do about it? What do you do about your current circumstances? Like, what do you do to make your own life? Like, are you a type of person who is like, you know, because I know like a lot of like successful business men and women came from single parent households. And I mean, honestly, I've seen like a lot of more success stories on that side than I have with, I grew up in this, you know, single parent.
Yeah.
You know, I guess like more so the extreme rags to riches stories, you know.
Right.
And to me, those are more inspiring. And then sometimes I think in my own life, personal life, I'm just like, when I become this or that in my own life, I'm just like, I don't have that exciting rags to riches, or just like I came from this to that. And and it's just like, sometimes I'm like, dang, like I'm over here comparing myself, you know, and I'm just like, my story is not as exciting, or it's not gonna, you know, sell as many autobiographies or something like that. But it's all about the question is all about like, what do you do about your circumstances, not necessarily like what are your circumstances, because again, there are people who man, the thing I just thought about was again, and I'm saying this without knowing all of the situation, but it what could be the case in maybe you've heard about what happened with Kirk Franklin and his son.
Yeah.
The argument
I heard like bits and pieces, but not fully like the full. But
yeah, and maybe that's a bad example because like apparently like he had that's his son, but like he also has another family, so maybe that's not a good example. But like I'm trying to think of like, I don't know, like I can't think of anything right now at the top of my head, but just like there are people who grow up with both parents, or maybe their parents are famous, or I don't know, whatever the case is, and they don't do anything with that. They don't make something of themselves. They don't really like take advantage of those opportunities or those advantages, because those are advantages. You have your dad is Kirk Franklin, or your dad is Will Smith, or your dad is whoever, or your mom is whoever, like and it's like not that everybody needs to be like famous per se. That's not really what I'm saying, because like there's some people who just like maybe their dad is a rapper or something like that, but they don't want to be famous. They just want to have a good life, or they want to still carry a productive life. But you have the other people who are like, they have that entitlement, or they grew up with their parents, they grew up with all these things that they were always given to them, and they expect everything to just come their way without like putting in the work. And that's where I see a lot of that happening with people with two-parent households, especially the ones who are successful, especially when you have parents that don't like show their kids discipline, and you just give them whatever they want, and you're raising a monster, really. So and some people don't even realize it.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I guess what I was wanting to say was like, to go back to your question, when you were like, what do you do with it? I think that was the question you said, like, what would you
like what is like I guess like kind of like it's kind of like a rhetorical question, but at the same time it's like, but what is your thought on that? Like what are your thoughts on that, like about what your circumstances are versus like what you do about your circumstances,
what do you do with it,
given your family or your upbringing situation?
Well, first thing I would say is like, I think you need to be aware of your circumstances and who you are, first of all. And I think a lot of people aren't very aware of who they are, like who they are, and like your circumstances, like, like, I think when you become aware, like, okay, I never come from a single parent home, so I don't know, but I assume that most people that come from a single parent home might say, damn, like you're aware that, wow, I don't have all the tools that my friends who have both of their parents, I don't have those type of tools. I don't have that access to a lot of shit that someone who has two parents. So when you become aware of that, and you have to ask yourself, okay, so what am I going to do to change that? So, and I think to go back to your story, why they have so much of a success story is because it's like, wow, I lack that. I don't have that other parent to fall on. I don't have that extra income to fall upon. Like, all I have is my mom, and my mom is already giving me the necessities. So the things that I want, I have to work 10 times harder, if not maybe just work harder than the average person to get the things that I need. So when you become of the aware, like, and awareness, I'm not speaking on like a broad, like a huge scale. Awareness could just be like, damn, I want those Jordans, and my mom can't give me those Jordans. So I got to get me a job. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then on top of that, you might say, I got me a job, but my job is only, all right, you should say the Jordan is about $200. Okay, cool. How many hours did I have to work to get that? You might change. So now your awareness is even more, it's just increasing more and more, like, well, shit, I'm not about to spend, I don't work, let's just say it took me then to like 3 days to make this money, $200. So that means, damn, I'm about to be broke.
Damn.
If I'm not having that. So it's just like, now you're thinking to myself, like, okay, damn, I'm gonna have to hold on the Jordans. Or you might sit here and say, I'll spend the money and be broke. Or you could say, I'm gonna make double the money or try to find me a better job. So that's like, all it is just being aware of everything. Anything that you want, you have to be aware, like, okay, this is what I want. And this is, and after awareness, it's kind of like, what am I going to do to change my circumstances? So it's just like, all right, now that I'm aware, I see the problem, how am I going to solve it? And I think that's kind of like the difference between, you know, not saying that it's better or it's worse, but that's just the difference between people who come from a 2-parent home, well, 2 parents in a home compared to a single parent home. Because, and I'm not saying that because I mean, even with both of my parents was giving me half of the shit that I wanted. I mean, a lot of people might think like outside looking in, like, oh, Sasha, you living a life. Hell no. Like my parents definitely was like, you're not going to get that. Like, and it's the same thing with me. Like, even though I have the parents, even though my parents can afford it, but they looking at money on a whole different scale. Like, hell no, you're not going to get that. Just because I can buy it for you doesn't mean I'm going to give it to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think that's when my awareness jumps in. It's just like, okay, I want this. So what am I going to do to change this? I want a better house. Like, I want a better situation. Like, everybody wants something better than what they already have. So, and once you realize that, like, damn, I don't want to live like this no more. I don't want to be like this no more. I don't want to be a bad person. It doesn't matter what it is. As long as you are aware of who you are and your surroundings and what are you going to do to change it, I think that's when, you know, things start to kick in for you. It doesn't matter if you come from a single parent home or even from a parent where you have both parents. But overall, that's just kind of what I think when it comes to like, what are you doing to change? Like, it's more so just awareness. Like, that's kind of like how I was like thinking about it more so, and why you would say like more people have a more success. I don't know if they necessarily have a more success rate. But
no, I wasn't saying. Okay, let me clarify what I was saying.
No, I get it.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying like I'm saying their stories about their come up stories are more exciting or more appealing to, like, to hear than like, oh, I grew up with, you know, both of my parents in the household. We were just medium income, and nobody wants to hear. That's boring. Come on, like, I mean, that's nice, but I mean, that's boring. Like, that's not gonna sell anything. I didn't say it's a more compelling. I didn't say there was more success rate because statistics, you know, show the opposite. But I'm just saying that is, you know, one of the things that, you know, I think it's just you know, I think sometimes, as you know, when I struggle with comparing myself, like, man, when I like, I'm on my come up, I'm on my grind, and you know, and I'm sitting here thinking about, like, you know, everybody has a story, everybody has a background where they came from, and I'm just sitting here thinking, like, how can I, like, because like that's what is really selling, you know, or really like that is, you know, who you are, that's who you are and stuff like that, because people don't just want to listen to a podcast, buy a t-shirt, you know, subscribe to this. They want to know, what is your story? Who are you? And
they want to know
that is part of, like, when people are like buying your t-shirts, subscribing, or just being a part of whatever you're doing, whether it be a business, whether it be a movement, or anything in life. Like, people want to know, who are you? And that has a lot to do with your story, your upbringing, your background, you know, all that stuff. Like, what city you come from, you know, all that stuff. But I was just saying, like, you know, as I am aware of these things as an entrepreneur and stuff like that, like, people are in the age of, like, I'm not just buying your product or listening to your podcast, Andre, just because, you know, it's a podcast. I am doing this because it's you. This is a part of you. Like, I am investing a piece of myself in you because I want to learn more about you and stuff like that. And and it's the same way with, like, whenever I subscribe to different people's YouTube channels or stuff like that, or buy books, like, I like to hear their story. Like, I'm not just buying a book. I'm buying this book from, you know, Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, whoever, like, you know, it's like the story is what is pulling me, who they are, that's part of who they are, their upbringing. That's what's pulling me, not just the book. So I can buy a book from anybody. I can buy a computer or like a CD from anybody. But what distinguishes my, like maybe, if you think about musicians, like I have certain musicians that I relate to more. Like, for example, Childish Gambino. I like growing up, I didn't have a rapper that I like my background could relate to, even though I like Lil Wayne, I like all of them. But I didn't have like somebody that I personally like had like a connection with. Like, I didn't grow up in the streets. I didn't gang bang. I didn't do all this stuff. I like, my parents weren't doing drugs. And so like, I couldn't like, even though I liked listening to it, it's not that, and it's not even to say that Childish Gambino is the best rapper of all time, because I'm not going to say that. It's just, it's just that certain people are going to gravitate or not to maybe your music, your books, whatever you're doing. It's because of the story. What story is behind it? Who are you? That is what's really drawing them. And they're seeing a part of themselves inside of you, and they're saying, hey, you know what? Like, that's a really, that's a really awesome, come up, or that's a really awesome, like, just background, and I like that, and it just reminds me of maybe a struggle, or reminded me of a struggle or something that I went through as well. And so that person's more likely to be invested in, your music, your art, your whatever you're doing, and a movement. I don't know, like, so, all that to say is just like, I think understanding your story, and like you talked about, being self-aware is so important, because I think sometimes people, I mentioned, rappers, kind of brazed over that, like with Childish Gambino, but then you have, he's being his authentic self, and that's what I like about him. People can, call him whatever they want to, growing up, he talked about the struggles of like, hey, I grew up not being accepted by my own people. Hey, I talked a certain way, dressed a certain way, he grew up Jehovah's Witness or whatever like that. And, and so like, there's different experiences that he had that a lot of his black friends, or black peers, rather, not friends, but black peers, did not. And so like, even though they both had the same skin tone, they just didn't have the same, story, or could relate to him. And it's not even maybe that some kids, or it's not just some kids. This goes from kids to adults. Like, some people are not making fun of you, or calling you lame, corny, or whatever label they want to call you, not because necessarily that because that they hate you, or anything like that. It's just that maybe their story is not yours, and there's a part of them that's like, it's just, that is what maybe is missing. So they feel like, some people feel like they can't appreciate who you are because they don't see themselves inside of your story. And I think it's, and that's where self-awareness is so important, because when you are aware of that, you can persist through anything that somebody labels you, whatever they call you, making fun of you, stuff like that. That's what separates certain people from others, like, because you can grow up in the good environment. You can have all these different things, a roof over your head. But if you lack self-awareness, or you lack persistence, or the ability to keep persevering through certain things that people are, saying to you or doing to you, and you're allowing that to get in the way of where you're going. And, sometimes it's sad, because it comes to the point where that person wants to be accepted so much that, and especially, and I bring, to go back to the, rapper example specifically, you have, the Donald Glovers that are like authentic to themselves, no matter who they're, even though if they're not from the streets. Then you have people who are like, you have the, the 6ix9ines, or, you have people like who, did you really gangbang? Are you really from the streets? Are you really, like, some people be capping out here, and some people, like, they're selling a story because it sells, because a lot of people, again, and that's, people, that's, again, you have the people who are capping because they know that the rags to riches. Oh, I came from, this real struggle. I came from the streets, and that does, no, literally that does sell more because it's more exciting. You have the ups and downs, the emotional roller coaster. Like that is a more exciting story. And that's the facts. And so, like,
it's relatable to the urban culture.
No, and it's not just the urban, it's just to everybody. It like, and it, because like there's a deep, I think there's a deep
everybody.
No, not when I say relatable, not maybe in a personal sense, but in the sense of like I think there's an inner part of our being that's like we really appreciate, whether it be movies or shows, or seeing somebody go from like really bad, not just like, oh, I came from I went from good to great, but it's more exciting to see, like, it's more emotional connection to, like, see,
that's true.
I went from really bad from the trenches, and I came all the way to the top of the mountain. That's true. More of an exciting story, and I understand why that appeal. And it's like, you don't even have to relate to that in, like, maybe you didn't grow up in the streets, but there's a deeper part of you, because we all, no matter who we are, everybody likes stories. Like, and that's why they tell you, like, don't be spitting out statistics so much, whether you're on a TED stage or like whether you're doing whatever talks, share stories, because that, you have the ethos, pathos, logos, like, you have the emotional part of you, you have the logical part of you, have the, the credibility there, and there's so much, and the pathos part is that emotional connection. And so, like, even if you didn't grow up in the streets, even if you didn't come from a major struggle, and everybody has their own struggles, let's not discount that, but like, if we're talking about, like, the real extreme, from one side to the other, that is a more appealing story to the the pathos, the emotional connection that we have, and that deeper inner part that I was talking about. Hello?
Oh shit, this phone.
I think my connection's kind of like in and out.
I think your phone just kind of like. Are you good?
Yeah. I'm good. My laptop is like, I don't know what it is with. It could be the connection, and I think it's my room. I have like, sometimes it could be in and out, but I don't know.
But yeah, I got you though. Like, as far as people are like, and then I mean, especially like amongst us, like, even if you don't relate, someone who's been through that.
Yeah.
Like, there's always, hold on. Sorry. There's always someone, whether it's a friend of a friend, your family, whether it's someone close, personal, or yourself, or whatever, someone who has been through that type of struggle, or who's going through that struggle right now. And it might not be on a huge scale as far as, a parent's on drugs or whatever, or it could just be that, like, I'm struggling. I'm not financially stable.
Sure.
It could be anything, but we all going through some type of struggle, no matter what. So it's like, to see that, I think that's kind of that's what I said, when you hear people's stories or when you hear the people's music, you're like, wow, I can relate to. I might not relate to everything. Yeah, and that's the same with me. Like, I might not relate to the drugs or whatever, but I live right down the street from people who have these drugs right in my face, or I have family members, or I have friends who've been on drugs, or who I know that's struggling. You know what I'm saying? So I understand it. And I don't have to necessarily go through it to sympathize with you, to be like, damn, okay, like, wow, I totally understand, or that shit is like real. And I think that's what I think a lot of people need to understand. Like, yeah, like, even though you never been through it, doesn't necessarily mean that you can't sympathize with people. Like, wow, like, and I think you should be a little bit more grateful that you never had to go through that,
Yeah.
So when I see like that's why I said, like, I don't kind of respect a lot of rappers who talk about a lot of different things when they talk about these drugs. And yeah, I get it. It sells. You making money. Yeah. I get it. You trying to make a living. But there are a lot of these rappers talk about these things that a lot of these kids or our generation are really going through on an everyday basis, and they're selling a dream as if, like, oh, you can just do bop, 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 bop and get out of that, or you can flip this and this, this and that. And I get it, like, certain shit, like, maybe that was your circumstances, or that was your situation where that has happened for you. But there are a lot of these kids who are looking up to a lot of these rappers that are talking about all type of wild stuff, And to me, it might not affect me because I'm very much aware, like, okay, this is just music. But there are a lot of kids out here who are actually listening to this shit. It's like, damn, I really relate to this. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they taking every word, every verse, word from word as like, this is really what I'm supposed to be doing type shit. And it's sad, you know what I'm saying? Because this is how you get killed. This is how you end up in prison. This is how you just become another statistics, you know? And it's sad, like, in so many different ways. So it's just like, and that's why I'm like, with me and you, a lot of us are aware, like, okay, I'm listening to the music just to listen to it, or I can say like, damn, I can relate to it because I know someone, but I know that I would never go out and do no gangbang and shit, or I know I won't go out there selling drugs or whatever, you know, like that's just not me.
About that life.
And exactly, that's not my life, and I'm very much aware of that. But there are a lot of kids who are out here that are very impressionable who will do those things because that's what they're around. They have parents who are on crack. They have parents, like, they don't have no outlet, you know? They don't have, so their music is the outlet. So when you hear this music and you are surrounded by this, you can't help but to just continue going down that path of what this, and the sad thing is that what these rappers are rapping about are not even going through this. Like, and that's the sad thing, because you're leading these kids on, and I'm not even saying kids, you got grown adults doing this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just awareness. Right. Like, a lot of people think just awareness is like some type of, oh, you are, as a child thing, like, oh, maybe you didn't fully mentally get there yet. You got adults out here who are not aware of themselves or aware of their surroundings. And they're listening to these different things from the media, from the radio, from the music, you know, all these different things that's coming at you from all different angles. And then on top of that, you're in the middle of it. Yeah. And when I say in the middle, I mean, as far as you living in the projects, you know, you're living in these environments where there's nothing but drugs and crackheads around you. So all you believe to think is, this is my life and this is what all my life will ever be, you know? And that's why I be feeling so bad for a lot of people. And that's why I say sometimes I might not relate to the music fully 100%, but I understand it. And and don't get me wrong, and I'm not trying to take away from some of these rappers, because I believe a lot of these rappers probably was just in this situation just a year ago and they're rapping about their experiences. I get it. But at the end of the day, you also have to be mindful that because you're rapping about these experiences, and even though that might have helped you navigate through the world, and now you're making millions and you're not in that lifestyle no more, but you have to think about all the other children and grown people that are still that's still in that dirt, in that mud, and trying to figure out how the fuck to get out of that shit. And everybody is not about to be a rapper. Like, everybody ain't about to make it. So, and it's sad. It's really, really sad, because it's like, rappers make you believe that this is the life. Like, once you become a rapper, once you talk about drugs, this is how you're going to get out of that life. And you're not. Like, and I mean, and I'm not saying all, but only like literally probably 1% really makes it. I don't know facts really, like statistically, but not everybody's about to be a rapper. I mean, come on, you see people are being put on in the same way they getting right off the map just as fast.
You fall off as easily, like, you quickly fall off as easily as you come up. And
exactly,
you see these
and
people
it's sad.
Overnight successes, and you know, and they, and it's funny because, like, it's funny, but it's not funny. It's just like, it's interesting, rather, that, you know, if we're talking about like rappers, like, there is this, like, the theory of the Drake stimulus package. if Drake either is on your track, or if you're on his track featured, you are basically getting a stimulus package. And you know, you have, you know, people who you know, take advantage of that opportunity, like Lil Baby, Lil Durk, and then you have people who fall off, and they were hot for a little bit, you know, when they, you know, I can't think of dude from Look Alive. I think, what is the dude's name? Hold up. It was a song from Look Alive. I think it was in 2014. I want to say Moneybag Yo. I don't Look Alive. Drake. Black Boy JB. Okay, Black Boy JB. That's who it was. And you have people like that. Like, it's just like, you were like, who is that? Like, yeah,
Right.
I saw that expression in your face. So like, I had to look it up. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't remember who he is now because literally he's no longer like in the mainstream like relevancy. And it's not to say that it's not even to say that he's not talented or nothing like that. He may be talented. I don't listen to him like that, but it's just, you know, you can quickly fall as quickly as you rise, but it's all sometimes like a matter of circumstances, opportunity, like things that are out of your control, who you know, like all those different places and things come into place. You know, they factor in to an outcome or a success, and so like, you know, you know, people are blessed to have the Drake stimulus package, but for those who are not, who are just, you know, on the grind and been on the grind, and they just, you know, some people remain underground and they don't leave that space, and some people are happy with that, and that's okay. Like, you know, because everybody, you know, if they paying bills, then, you know, you don't gotta be like, you ain't gotta be the next Lil Wayne or the next Drake. Like, you can,
that's true,
have a nice life.
Stay in your lane, okay, and be happy in your lane. That's all it matters. Like, I don't know why people be making it seem like just because you're not in the same lane as another person that it's like, oh, your lane is whack. Like, baby, we are all on different levels, okay? I'm in. I feel like this. I am in competition with the person that I was yesterday. Like, so I'm staying in my damn lane. Like, so if you want to be like, people really make you seem like, oh, if you're not here, it's just like, So hey, stay in your lane.
Like, wherever I go, or well, mainly like I found this little toy goat when I was like walking around downtown Atlanta, and I was like, this is so random, but
I see.
it was just like a toy just sitting there, and I'm like, and I picked it up, but to me, it's not just a toy. Like, I mean, obviously, you know, when people say GOAT, they, you know, greatest of all time, like that's a symbolism. That's become like the ideal thing now. Like, you know, some people, like, you know, in certain cultures, they pedestalize an elephant. In some cultures, they pedestalize the cow. You know, in Eastern cultures in India, stuff like that. And I think in American culture, what's starting to be pedestalized is the GOAT because of what it stands for. And our, you know,
the GOAT.
Yeah, that's right. And so like when I picked it up, I was like, I don't think this is a coincidence. I picked it up, and I'm like, I was feeling myself. I started walking a different kind of way. I was like,
that was your sign.
This is God's little gift to me. Let me put this in my pocket. So, so everywhere I go, maybe not everywhere, but like a lot of places, I take it a lot of places. I take the little Billy Goat with me. And it just reminds, like, as you were talking about, like, you know, you're in competition with yourself, like, you know, who you are today versus who you were yesterday. And this little Billy Goat, like, keeps me, like, focused. Like, sometimes I just be like, man, I want to go to sleep, or I'm too tired to work on this video or this podcast. But then I look at the goat and I'm just like, all right, you know,
I swear, I'm trying to be people like that.
If I'm trying to be the GOAT in this lane, podcasting, whatever like that, then I gotta stay on it.
That's so true.
And sometimes you gotta have these little symbolisms. You know, some people gotta have, like, it's funny. I mean, it's cute and funny, but I'm dead serious. Like, sometimes you gotta have those symbolisms to keep you motivated or just to keep you going. I mean, you gotta have, you know, the internal motivation.
Right.
But I think,
but we fall off sometimes. I get it.
It's like, you know, as a human being, like you have natural instincts where you're just like, and you know, things are, you know, getting challenging, or you just want to. There's a part of you that's like, is this really worth it? Like, you know, what you're doing, is this really worth it? Like, and so like, I think everybody has different things that mean different things to them. And for me, like I said, like when I see this, like it just, I don't know, it just helps me to, you know, I don't be showing it to everybody. Like, you're like literally the first person I showed this to. I never really told this to anybody. But yeah, I don't really show people like that because I just, you know,
as long as you know. That's all that matters. As long as you know.
Because here's the thing, like as much as I am a talker, like I feel like that's my gift is communicating, and you know, podcasts and stuff like that. As much as I talk, I've learned to like put in that work and just like put in the action to back it up because I used to be like that type of person that would be like all talk and like there's no backing it up with work or you know or you know putting in the time and effort. Like I would just be talking, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and then like didn't come to fruition because I didn't, you know, stay focused or like, and it's not even, I think it's BS when people say, I don't have time. Yeah, you do. You just didn't make the time. Everybody has 24 hours in a day. It's not about whether you have the time, it's about whether you make the time. And
that's true.
And I think that's the lamest excuse. And whether it be what, you know, whether it be for your dreams, whether it be for just taking care of yourself, like you know, going to the gym, eating right, taking care of yourself, like having time alone, massages, whatever you want to do, like whatever self-care is to you. Like I don't have time. Well, then your body's gonna fall apart, and you can't enjoy the fruits of your labor because you know they have people they say that don't have time for different areas of their life and they're just always on the grind or they're you know and then they lack you know health, they lack you know emotional connections with their family and friends, and I think sometimes people can be unbalanced and
that's true,
and that's where it just like when I think of like being like the GOAT, it's not just in my career or my you know my career as like the career factor or the career side of my purpose. My purpose is like a all encompassing thing that includes the career. A lot of it includes like what I am to do, like who I am and why I was born to serve other people outside of myself. But my purpose also and where I want to be the GOAT and be the greatest that I can be is, you know, by, you know, serving my family, you know, being there for my family or like, and then, you know, just taking care of myself and just like investing in myself. And I think of like, you know, LeBron James and like do invest $1 million every year into his body, just his body. You know, it's not even like, oh, I'm buying these clothes, shoes. No, just this body. Like whether that be trainers, whether that be you know, certain machines that help, you know, keep his body, you know, and intact, or you know, health plans or you know, meal plans and all that stuff. Like he is investing because he doesn't want to be the greatest just in basketball. Like, I mean, and again, I don't know, you know, what's going on in his family, but just like from what it seems on the outside, like he seems like he's still a good dad, a good, you know, family man to his family. It seems that way, you know, from what it, you know, I've seen. And he seems like a well-balanced person. Like,
right,
I don't really hear about scandals with him. You know, he's always like, he's staying focused, like in the gym,
right,
when he's with his family, he's staying focused. Like he goes hard with his family, but when he's like, wherever he is, he goes hard, like his own personal health, he goes hard. And he's like the go in each of those categories. And I think people need to be like, you know, like comparing yourself to who you were yesterday and just be like, yo, I am not where I want to be yesterday in my health, in my relationships, in my purpose, like, you know, or my career. And how can I become that? Or what can I do to like take that next step? So
right. But that's why I said like how it always goes back to awareness. Like,
yeah.
Are you aware that like, I think a lot of people feel like if it doesn't affect other people, why should I change it? But sometimes it's not about just affecting other people. Sometimes it's about yourself as well. Like, you know, you look at yourself and like a lot of people always want to think of the outside. Like, oh, like like the first thing people say, like, oh, what do my health got to do with you? You know, and it's just kind of like, okay, cool. It might not affect me personally, but at the end of the day, it's affecting you. And what are you doing to change it? And that's when I say awareness needs to come into play. Because at the end of the day, you know that you're out of shape. And it's not because of how you look. Like, yeah, that might be the one way of saying like, okay, I'm out of shape, I look fat. Okay, cool. But another way is like, okay, you notice that you can't even walk long periods of time. You can't stand up long periods of time without you breathing, huffing and puffing, you know? Like these are the signs that your body is letting you know you need to make a change. And when people talk that, oh, I don't have time, it only takes 30 minutes out of your day to do just simple walking, simple just running or going to the gym. Even if you don't go to the gym, what is it for you to just walk around the block? Or even I know people, I sit at my job 12 hours out of the day. I don't really do much of nothing. But I've noticed that when I carry this watch, like when I have this watch on, like I noticed that I gained a lot of weight. I will literally stand up and just start doing jumping jacks, or I will walk into place because I know that like I might not have the time to go to the gym because I'm working 12 hours up today. But that's no excuse for me to still, I have nothing but time. I can just keep walking the lobby, you know what I'm saying? Like, or I can do a couple of jumping jacks, you know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't take much, but that's me aware that I'm gaining weight. That's me aware that when I walk up the stairs, when someone asks me to get a package, I'm huffing and puffing, like, and you know the package room is right there. So if you're huffing and puffing off of that, you know that your health is shitty right now, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of people tend to do that, like, oh, what do me not reading have to do with you? What do me not do? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people like to get very defensive when you speak on certain things that they might lack or that there might not, you know, and it's not necessarily that I'm pointing out to say that, oh, you're a horrible person or you're ignorant, you're shitty. It's just that I'm looking at something because I see something in you that I know that you can improve, that I know that you can get better, that I know right now you're just being lazy. And I used to be that way. Like a lot of people would come at me like, oh, you're this, you're that, you're that. And I would take that get very defensive, like, oh, why would you say that to me? But sometimes people see something better, see things in you that you don't see in yourself. And they want the best for you that you don't even want for your damn self. So, and when people see those things, it's like they're trying to bring awareness that you didn't even bring awareness for yourself. So they're bringing that to let you know, like, wow, bro, like, I know you can be in the best shape that you can. Like, even when I'm pretty sure when people give you feedback on your podcast, you might take it as, oh, what you mean? Like, you might feel like I put 100% in it, but somebody might see something in it. We'd be like, well, maybe you could tweak this because they know that you're doing amazing, but you could be 10 times greater if you just did the little tweaks here and there. But if you get defensive on every little thing, it's like, you won't ever be as great as you want to be. You won't ever be the GOAT that you thought you know what I'm saying? Like, so these are the things that people sometimes need to get out of their emotions and just look at shit for what it is and be like, okay, cool. I take your feedback. You don't have to necessarily change it, but it's nothing wrong with taking a little bit of feedback and be like, all right, cool. You just brought my attention to that because I wasn't aware of that. I didn't know that, you know? So especially when somebody's 10 times better than you, shit. When if I see a person who's body banging and they come to me talking about, well, Sasha, you could do this. Hell yeah, I'm gonna take look at you, your body is amazing. If you got a podcast that's booming, you got 1 million subscribers and you telling me, oh, this what you need to be doing. Hell yeah. What you say? Let me write that down. Like, let me write that, you know what I'm saying? Like, seriously, because we tend to get like, and we always look at shit as a competition. Like, oh, what she's saying, it's not about competition. Sometimes people just see something really good in you, you know, that you don't see in yourself, and they really are on your side and they want to help you, you know. And that's why I just look at it like, thank you. Like, you don't have to take everybody feedback. You don't have to, like, but I will always say thank you for that. You know, thank you for that. And I might use some, I might not use it. But at the end of the day, you have brought my attention to it. You brought my awareness to it. So shit.
Yeah. No, I agree. I totally agree. Because I think one of the best traits you can ever have, like as an adult, especially in this day and age, is self-awareness.
Exactly.
If you don't have that,
and we are lacking,
you are going to fail.
A lot of us are lacking that.
Fail. Like, it's bad. It's gonna be bad for you. Like, sometimes I just be like watching, like, it's just like, or like, I don't know if you've seen their channel, Abba and Preach. Like, I watch like their channel, but anyways, Abba and Preach. I'll leave a link.
I feel like I heard that before, but okay.
But yeah, they're funny guys. Like, they have commentary and reactionary videos about different things, kind of like MTR. But
wait, is they like the black and the he looked like he could be his not
he's
Hispanic,
Ethiopian.
but Indian?
Ethiopian.
Oh yeah, I seen him here. I seen it, but I don't know if I really got into it. But yeah, I see him here and there.
Yeah. So
Okay, yes.
yeah, I watched them and so like there was this they have had a couple of videos that were pretty funny about like just highlighting like the extremity of what when you don't have self-awareness looks like. And he brought it up in the dating context. And there's this guy, I think his name is, he calls himself Skippy or Skimpy or I think his name is Skippy.
Okay.
And dude like has zero, I would maybe not even zero. This dude has like -50 awareness level. And dude took the video camera on a date and was like videotaping the whole thing. Hey, so how's the date going? And he'd be like asking the girl, and it'll be like mad cringe. Like it would be like, yo, bro, like what are you doing? Like,
I'm cringing,
first of
and I'm not
all,
even
you
mad.
shouldn't be videotaping the date. Second of all, don't ask the girl how's the date going. She's gonna let you know that by her body language. Bro, you don't gotta ask those questions. And so like I'm just like, dude, this is why you're failing. This is why you're not succeeding. You're not, it's just like, and dude was like, it was so bad to the point where this girl, like, she even brought, I think, her brother for one of these dates. Cause like, it's like one of those things where like she was being nice, but this can turn into a horror story real quick for like, you make him mad, and I'm tired of being rejected all the time. I always get rejected by every woman, and then he's like, that's the extreme. But it's like, and I got you. She brought her brother to one of the dates, and I'm just like, dude, this is super cringy to watch. But it just showed it was funny, but it was just like, dang, like,
but was
it
he
makes
serious?
you realize that there are people out there that don't have any self-awareness at all. And I'm not just talking about dating or with friends. I'm talking about just in general, like just knowing like what's going on, reading the room and stuff like that. And I mean, like, I can't even act like I haven't made my mistakes, my fair share of mistakes. There'll be times where I had to take cues and stuff like that. But as I have grown older, you take body language cues, or just like verbal cues about certain things, about there's the meaning behind what somebody's really saying. And we live in this polite world where polite society in the Western world, where just because somebody's smiling or just because somebody says yes, that's okay, doesn't really mean that that's okay, or you should continue to do that. Because you could really end up in a world of trouble, because people in this day and age, like, you have to be real careful, like, especially as a I would say especially as a heterosexual male. And I say that specifically because this day and age, there again, for the history we've seen, the Harvey Weinsteins of the world and stuff like that, those men are disgusting. They need to be locked up, and they deserve what's coming for them. But then you have other people who maybe didn't do something, or maybe they said an innocent thing, or they just didn't read the room, or just, I don't know. And later on, that joke comes up, they're running for office or something like that, or that, hey, he did this, or he touched me, and it's just like, and that dude may have not even been malicious at all. He may have just been lacking some self-awareness at that moment. And so now this has been used against him and weaponized against him. It's a consequence. You see, that's for good or for bad, there's a consequence to everything. Like, having self-awareness is a good consequence, and lacking self-awareness is a consequence, a negative consequence. And so the world doesn't owe you an explanation. See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
And the world does not owe you an explanation. That's what I like about Kevin Samuels. Love him or hate him, that's what I love about Kevin Samuels, because he runs home the point, like, male, female, whoever, like, having that self-awareness about, like, who am I, what am I doing, like, what kind of results am I having, and am I succeeding, if not, then maybe I should change my course of action. Maybe I should maybe look a little bit deeper inside, you know?
That's true. Well, people tend to look at but like I said, people tend to go outside of themselves. No one ever, and that's another thing, accountability. Like no one likes to take accountability neither. Like you're not only are you not self-aware, or even when you are self-aware, you're not even taking accountability. It's like the first thing you do when things don't go your way, whether it's relationship, your job, you always tend to attack the other person. Oh, I didn't get the job because I don't know why I didn't get the job because I was
racist. They're a racist company.
They were this, they were that. Maybe you just was not qualified. You know, maybe you're not a professional enough. You know, like same thing with a date. You know, you go out on a date, maybe she's just not into you as much, or maybe you said something racial, or what. You just never know, or maybe you're very aggressive, or you're controlling, and you don't realize it because all of your relationships you've always been so controlling, and maybe you come across someone who's like, wow, like, but you don't not only were you not aware of it, but now once you are aware of it, you don't want to take accountability. So you put it all onto the woman, or you put it all onto the man. And to go back to your Kevin Samuels, I personally, don't get me wrong, I personally like the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, now I wouldn't go on.
Excuse me, ma'am. How old are you? Excuse me, ma'am. What do you rate yourself out of 10? And you can't use 7. Ma'am, excuse me. Do not interrupt me. I will mute you right now.
I will.
You can shut the French toast up right now.
I just would not. I would not. But what I will say about him, I have to respect him, because at the end of the day, he is. See, what the problem with a lot of women, and when I'm speaking, and it's so funny that I'm talking about accountability, is that a lot of women don't take accountability neither. You know, because they feel as if, well, I don't know why my man cheated on me. I don't know why. You know, sometimes you have to evaluate yourself. Like, sis, what you've been doing, you have to look at yourself like, okay, you want this caliber of a man. Same thing with women. Men want this caliber of a woman. You know, so like it's the same thing for both. And you have to look at yourself and say, okay, you can't want level 10 when you're constantly keep doing level 5 shit. So, you know, when you are looking at yourself and you're saying, okay, I want the baddest woman, I want this, or I want that, or whatever. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Are you in shape? No. Do you have money? No. You know what I'm saying? And that's just so, and the same thing that goes for women. Most men might not care how much money she makes, but damn, sis, are you even in shape? And I'm not talking about, oh, you in shape because my friend Pookie or my friend Lakeisha or whatever, she is size 8. No, sis, you have to damn near be at a model. And that's just reality. That's real shit. Like you cannot pass with that little belly and then you expect a man to be like, oh, especially when he's making 6 figures and he's around women who are models, who are the Beyoncés and the Rihannas of the world. Sis, you're done. And that's just real shit. And women tend to look at things and say, why doesn't he accept me? He's supposed to accept me for who I am. Wait. That don't work.
Did you accept that bum nigga for who he was?
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the thing, like a lot of these women, and that's why he be cutting their shit so short. And I personally, don't get me wrong, it's hurtful. It's hurtful to have someone, but it's real shit. It's real. And at the end of the day, he's giving you the results. If you, and I think as women, if you get out of your emotions and really listen to what he says, because the first thing he's going to tell you is, babe, you have to be in your best shape. A lot of women, when he asks you, have you even been in the gym? No. That's right. First, everybody know when a man looks at you, the first thing he's a physically attracted. He don't give a fuck what's up here yet. He's looking exactly what you're, and that's just real shit. If you are, you have to be I'm not saying you have to be a 2, but be your best physical shape that you could possibly be in. And a lot of women do not want to put in the work to do that. And you expect these men to give you you expect him to be a 6-figure man, and half of these women don't even know how much 6 figures is. Like, you don't even, so it's just like you're looking, and the same thing that goes for men. These men feel like, oh, if I'm fat, I see Rick Ross getting, first of all, Rick Ross, He might be fat. Okay,
dude is
cool.
balling.
But he has money. He has money. So he's already above you, first of all, like at that moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, so even when you look at even when you look at DJ Khaled, yeah, he might not be the most attractive, but his money is attractive. And what do women want? Women associate money with attractiveness, to be honest, because they feel like that's stability. I like with that money, I am protected. I am stable. If I have a child, he can pretty much help us. Now, if you just fat and you have no money, oh, you're done. You're done. You know what I'm saying? So it's just those are, and I feel like he talks about the same thing over and over and over. Literally in all his videos, he talks about the same shit. And you women and men, I'm only gonna say women because mainly a lot of women call in to see his shows, and a lot of women get upset.
Men, but now it's been more women. It used to be like because what I noticed is like a lot of girls come in there. You're just bashing women. You're just bashing black women, but sis, you don't realize the earlier Kevin Samuels, like 1, 2, 3 years ago, before he started blowing up this last one, less than a year, like he was dogging all the men. Like I remember this dude, he was like, dude, you were 300 pounds. Like, you are a fat F-U-C-K. Like, yeah, I was like, God damn.
No, I didn't even know he talked about men. I was like,
see, I'm saying like you have to go back. You have to go back to like see the older, like when Kevin Samuels first started, he was only dogging out men because they would be calling into the show, and he was keeping them accountable, like because the ladies think that he's only keeping the ladies accountable. You're just being mean. No, sis, he's just keeping you accountable, and nobody else has. But see, when you first encounter accountability, it's perceived as meanness. When you don't receive accountability, it's like whenever somebody, maybe keeps me in check, and I'm like, my first thought is like, dang, this dude's being kind of harsh. But then when but if they said something, see, here's the thing. What I realize is that when something is true, it always strikes a nerve, because if there was not some truth to what somebody is saying, it wouldn't strike a nerve. Because if
it's striking your ego, that's what it is. It's striking your ego.
And this has nothing to do with, but I'm saying just the concept of like, when people like, when Martin Luther King spoke truth, or when Malcolm X spoke truth, because if they were just making up stuff that wasn't, real, then they would have just brushed it off like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But because it struck a nerve, it only struck a nerve because they knew in their heart of hearts that there's something truth about it, something true about it. And it's the same way when it comes to these things, like what Kevin Samuels is doing for men and now women. When you've gone so long without any kind of accountability, on both sides of the aisle, men and women, then, I think again, he's, it's more so, I would say men, receive more accountability in general, just growing up, growing up, my dad, like, he would discipline me or my sister, and my sister two different ways. Let's keep it real. And it would just be like, cause here's the thing. Let's be completely honest. Me as a black male and my sister as a young, black female, girl, like I would just, it's like, there's so many adjectives nowadays. Everybody was like, king, queens, how people in the black community,
black
so it's like
female,
all these adjectives female. Are running through my mind. So as a black female, even though we're both black, like there is a difference of treatment, maybe by the cops. Course. Maybe I'm seen as more intimidating because I'm a male. She would walk down the street, it's less likely that somebody would clench a purse or like walk on the other side of the street. There's less likely, even though she's black, she's a female, and she's seen as less threatening. And because of that, my dad, he talked to me in a different way, and he kept me accountable from an early age in a way that he didn't keep my sister accountable. Because like it'll be times where, and if people are out there, they're like, yeah, that's just your family. Like, no, there's a lot of people that, that went through this, because and if you were be honest, and keep it real, it's true in your family too. If your dad was around, daddy always treats his little princess a little bit differently than he does the sons. You punch him in the chest when he does something wrong, or you get a spanking, like, me and my brother got more spankings than my sister did. And and accountability was not just from my dad. It was from like my auntie, like, and she would discipline us in ways, and me and my cousins, that she wouldn't discipline my sister. To this day, I will never forget. We had this slip and slide back in the day. It was like 2006. I was like 6th grade or whatever, and we had this slip and slide back in the summer. And we bought it with our own money because we were working and, you know, cutting grass and doing all that stuff. We put our own money, and we went to Walmart, got a little slip and slide, and so we're having fun. But then it was like 4th of July, and we were popping fireworks, and I guess we weren't supposed to be popping fireworks. And then when we popped them in the backyard, my sister, being a little snitch that she was, and she told on us, and our auntie, she took the slip and slide. But the thing is, it's not just that she took the slip and slide. She kept us accountable. But even though my sister was technically in the midst of everything with us, she was there, you know, in the whole thing there with us, doing everything we were doing. But we were the ones that, you know, we got the slip and slide taken away from us. And the crazy thing was, the next day, my aunt gave the slip and slide to my sister just to let her play. She said only she can play with it. I'm like, are you effing serious? And as a kid, I'm just like, there's this anger inside of me. Like, are you freaking serious? Like, how do we get accountability, you know, that she doesn't get accountability? And see, that's the thing. It all starts from an early age. And whether people may not want to admit this or not, and this is going to strike a chord, but if we were to be completely honest, there is a difference. And so, like, it started from that early age and growing up, you know, and I'm glad that, you know, I was disciplined as a kid, as a man, because I had to hold in my anger, my testosterone, and like my aggression and stuff like that. Because if I just lashed out on, you know, different things or different people or how they made me feel, you know, I could be in a penitentiary. I could have been, you know, caught up, you know, in the streets. I could have been, you know, dead. So I'm glad that my dad did discipline me. And even though I didn't like it at the time, you know, He taught me, you know, to, you know, because the world does treat, you know, a man differently than a woman, as far as, like, you know, when it comes to discipline. Because, you know, for a certain crime that a man does, you know, the woman, you know, that people don't, and here's the thing, people think it's a joke whenever, you know, I've seen like women beat up men. Like, that is abuse. Like, that is battery assault. I'm not, and it's not to discount at all. In my discounting, I'm not discounting, you know, anything that, you know, I mean, because men are, you know, stronger than women on a general scale. We're, you know, except there are always exceptions, but we're talking on a general scale. I don't condone it, but I'm saying, I think people, you know, it's funny because it's not funny, but it's like, people, there's stories like men calling like, yo, I'm like, my wife is slapping me around, or she's, you know, beating the hell out of me. The cops would come up there and be like, they'll be laughing at them. And I'm just like, yo, that's not keeping them accountable. Like, you want to talk about if you want to talk about equal rights or whatever like that, you got to have equal accountability as well. And that's what we're seeing. And that's what Kevin Samuels is checking these girls on. And they don't like that, because from an early age, daddy's princess gets a different treatment than their little brothers. And as teenagers, and they grow up, and they can slap Johnny around, and it's okay. It's just, ha ha ha, you better take it. You're a man. You know, it's not, that's technically battery assault, if we were to keep it real. But if a man does it, you're locked up. You're canceled. You're done. Your career's over. And so I think, that's the thing with, you know, with Kevin Samuels show, is like, he's like, and the reason why he's growing is because people are starting to realize and open their eyes. Like, there is truth to what he's saying, as much as maybe you don't like his style. Maybe you don't like the way he asks certain questions. Maybe you don't like his tone of voice. But one thing you can't say is that this man ain't telling the truth. This man ain't a liar. He brings the facts. He brings statistics, because you have all these people calling up and they're saying, you know, how they feel, which is fine. You can say how you feel, but just because that's how you feel, that doesn't make it a fact. That does not make it true for the general population. You using antidotes from your own personal life, that does not make it true for the majority or a lot of people.
That's kind of how I felt about the video that we saw about the African millennials. You know, the video you sent me, and I already saw it was on MTR. He was how they were talking about how men should be mandatory to get a DNA test.
Oh, whew.
So
I saw the part 2 to that today. Oh my.
But I don't want to talk about that, but I was just talking to get into the whole, the women, a lot of the women didn't have very logical answers to the question. It was very much, oh, well, my personal experience was that I was cheated on, so I don't think that, and it was like, but we're not talking about you. And I think when I think with a lot of women, when we're asking a broad question, a lot of women tend to go back and be like, well, this happened to me, so blah, blah, blah. And now it has pretty much, it has taken a hit at their ego. So when it takes a hit at their ego, which is naturally your ego is protecting you. So you're protecting, really deep down inside, you know that you might be on some bullshit. Or you know that like some shit doesn't happen or whatever, but you don't want anyone else to see that. So then you backfire with something as, oh, well, men did this and he did that. You do the pointing the fingers instead of pointing the fingers right back at yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I was saying, like, and that's to go back to Kevin Samuels. He talks about a lot of different things as far as a lot of questions he's asking. He's asking everyday questions that men probably want to know that probably never have asked you. And because a lot of men in their lives probably let a lot of shit slide, they tend to just accept it. They feel like this is who I am. This is what, because a lot of men throughout their life have accepted the talking back, the disrespect, I'm just doing the hell I want to do. And then especially amongst Black women, we tend to do this shit where we say, oh, well, he knew who I was before I got, wait a minute, sis. And then you expect a man to put you on a pedestal when you're acting very much beneath the pedestal, to be honest. Like you want to be this Black queen and you want to be treated as a Black queen just because you have a Black face, but since you're acting like a Black peasant at the end of the day, and you wonder why so many men are like, oh hell no, which is why the guy was in the video said, I'm allergic to her, because you're aggressive, you're very masculine, and you don't realize it. And I'm not saying that it's actually a generational thing, because if you look at it, Black women have always been so strong, you know what I'm saying, have always been very strong within the household. So naturally, it's just natural to just take over everything. So finally, when you come across a man, you don't know how to step back. You don't know how to really be like, wow, okay, let my man lead. You don't even know, because you don't trust him leading, because let's just say you come from a household where the man in your household never led, because my mama always been the top dog in the house, you know what I'm saying? So you can't help, and that's why it takes for you to really break yourself down, be aware of what you're doing and take accountability and say, okay, damn, I need to change these things. I need to shut the fuck up. Excuse my language, but you need to really be quiet, because
shut the French toast.
One thing Black women gonna do, we gonna run our mouth. And sometimes that might seem cool, but you wonder why so many Black men are leaving to other women. And it's not about being submissive. It's just about stop always feeling like you need to say everything. I always got to have my opinion. No one asked you for your opinion. You don't always have to. If he said he going right, oh, well, left is the best way. You don't have to say that. Just follow his lead. And if he makes his mistakes, okay, cool. Women tend to just, and I'm only speaking as a Black, because I am a Black woman. I can't speak from a white perspective because I'm not white, but I'm speaking as a Black woman and having Black friends. having a Black mother and aunts, and I see it way too often, and I see too many women constantly crying over why there's not enough Black men, why they don't like us, because you're not taking accountability for yourself. Sometimes you have to stop pointing the finger at the Black man and look at yourself and see, what can I do to make myself better, and not make yourself better for him, but make yourself better for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I doing? Like, and it shows, and that's when it shows through your jobs, it shows through your friendships, because even when you had jobs, I had to tell my managers, sometimes you ain't got to say all that. Sometimes you don't have to always have a rebuttal. You don't always have to, I got to tell him off, let him know who I am. And then you wonder why you're fired. You wonder why no one likes you. You wonder why no one wants to be around you, because I just got to say something. And that's what it is with Kevin Samuels. Like, when he's telling you about stuff, he might not say it in the best way. He might not say it where he needs to coddle you. But at the day, he's giving you real shit. Because if you want these type of men, and these women be asking for 6-figure men, you best believe he don't want. Men are not looking for women to not be his piece. He wants you to be his pieces. So for you coming home and talking all this, bop, 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 that might work with hood nigga down the street, but that's not going to work with this man, especially when he is a caliber of this type and he has women, and he ain't talking about just Black women, white, Spanish, Italian. He has a whole bunch of women that's looking for him that will damn near kiss his feet. So with you talking this, all of that, that's not gonna work. And I'm not saying shut up and don't say nothing, but damn, just kind of bring it down a notch. And I think that's what I see so much with a lot of women. We're way too masculine and way too aggressive in how we say things, how we talk. And another thing is that we keep emasculating these men. Like, nobody wants to be around someone where you're constantly, because that's like saying if a man is constantly around me saying, oh, you ain't shit, you ain't if someone constantly keeps saying that, you tend to believe that about yourself. And it'll start to show. And then sooner or later, if a man know his worth, he probably like, I don't need that. I can go to another woman. And then when he goes to another woman, the first thing we say, he left me for a white girl. He wasn't strong enough. No, sis. You were so damn strong.
Tactic. That is a shaming.
That is a very
you can't handle
tactic.
A strong
and it's
Black
disgusting.
woman, or you can't handle a strong attitude. Here's the thing about that. I can put up with a bratty kid, but does that mean I want to? And I think a lot of people, nowadays, I think Kevin Samuels has given a voice to, especially a lot of men, because I think we've been feeling that way for a long time. It's just that we're too scared to say something because like cancel culture and like, like I'm dead serious because like,
no, you're right. I got you.
When I would be having discussions with, all female friends and they'll be Black, it feels like, whenever, you hear different opinions and stuff like that, the moment you as a man offer your perspective, you can't be, whoa, hold up, sis. I just let you speak and did not interrupt you once.
Right.
I listen to all of y'all. Now, you may not like what I'm about to say, but at least show some respect. At least give me that respect. You don't have to like me or what I'm saying. At least I gave you respect, so I expect that in return. And it's like, you cannot expect a 6-7 figure man when you got a minimum wage attitude.
That's a great analogy. I like that. That's cute.
Because a lot of people think, well, he should accept me for who I am. You know what? Let's flip it around. Because I think a lot of times people can only relate to stuff when you flip it around to see their perspective. And check this out. It's like, all right, what if you're walking down the street and dude approaches or whatever like that. He's like, hey, baby, I'm going to take you out, introduce himself. But the thing is, he's homeless and, he's smelling bad and he wants to take you out. But where? I guess you going to walk in the park or I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, but the thing is, like,
really bad. No, that's too bad of an example. Like,
okay. All right. Okay. I retract that. All right. But I'm just saying, like, but girls, you know, you have these songs like "I Don't Want No Scrub" and da da da. You know, you have all that stuff, and you know, I want to, you know,
which we don't.
Like, but that's what I'm saying. You don't want to scrub, and you don't, and it's like he don't have to literally be homeless. But I'm saying, like, but that term "bum" is used for people who even have a roof over their head and they're making minimum wage. But it's just like, you know, hey, like the guy is like, hey, you know, he's not improving himself. He's not having. He has lack of confidence. He doesn't, you know, he's not being masculine. He's not, you know, being a leader or whatever like that. And these are qualities that you're looking for as a woman, right?
Yeah.
But then he just says, you should just love me for who I am. I don't need to improve. I don't feel like, doing self-improvement. I don't feel like, you know, having the drive, having the ambition to move to the next level. Okay. Cause like there's a difference between like dude, you know, who's working at McDonald's, but dude is hustling. Dude is putting in work. Maybe he's at McDonald's now, but next thing you know, he'll have the 10 franchises of his own making $10 million. So if you like that, that's the difference between that dude and like another dude. We're not talking about the dude who has ambition, who may be working at McDonald's at the moment. We're talking about dude who is like at McDonald's and that's all he aspires to. And he's lacking self-confidence. He's lacking, you know, all these things that you want in a man. But at the same time, he has the audacity to tell you, oh, you should just stay with me because this is just who I am, right? No, that's not how this works, because just like a man needs to be accountable for who he is, and if he knows that's what a lot of women want or desire, then like it's just like, all right, like let's keep using McDonald's. We're getting the free advertisement. So like McDonald's, they have a certain market that they're trying to appeal to, right? They have customers. If you don't have customers, then and it's just like you're not going to accomplish what you want to accomplish if you don't have the customers that are coming in to buy your product, right? So at the end of the day, who dictates what product is good or bad? Is it McDonald's or is it the market? And it's the same way when it comes to dating. You have to understand it's not about, well, this is who I am. Who dictates what is a good product, a high quality product, a high value product? Is it you? Because everybody's going to think they're a 10 out of 10 in every area, in every aspect of their life.
Word.
But at the end of the day, again, if I'm McDonald's, I'm the business, and I'm looking at the market. At the end of the day, the market determines what is a high quality product, which is me. And that's why I had to make the best version of myself as a man so that I can be the best quality product. And it's not to objectify anybody, but it's just an example of like how to put this in you all shoes as a, you know, from a, you know, in a female's perspective, because a lot of times they just like, he should just accept me for who I am, because I'm just a 10 out of 10. And because that's what the girl on TV told me. Well, sis, let me ask you this. Show me your left finger. Is there a ring there? Oh, there's not. Oh, okay. Well then, all right. You can't have these results, which are 0 or, you know, slim, and expect, you can't be doing these things and you're having these same results. You can't keep doing the same thing. Otherwise, you're gonna have different results. I mean, you're gonna have the same results, because doing the same thing, expecting a different outcome is what we all know as insanity. And it's the same way when it comes to this situation too. And again, this goes for men and women, you know, because they'll be like, he's misogynist. Like, you know, it's always gonna be people that say stuff like that. And that's just that, again, and I like how Kevin Samuels calls that crap out, because, you know, the whole, the sign language or whatever he calls it, the shaming, that's, you know, it's a lot of shaming tactics like that, you know, that women have for men. And that's why men don't feel like they can voice their opinions and do it in a way that's peaceful, or they don't even want to join the conversation. They just gonna walk out, because like, all right, I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you about what my preferences are, because you just said you have no problem announcing to the world, I don't want no bum nigga. I don't want no scrub. And that's okay, sis. You can have your preference, and so can men. We can have our preference. But the moment we voice our preference, we're called misogynist. We're labeled as different things. Oh, you're just you just, you know, you're just surface level. Like, you know, you only care about the physical. Well, ma'am, again, who determines the buying of a product? Is it the business or is it the market? That's the question you have to ask yourself.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, I just think it's a very hard pill to swallow for a lot of women.
Yeah.
When you're not on that list.
Yeah.
And it's sad to say. And as Black women, we're slowly, we damn near at, first it was like we're on the list, now we're at the bottom of the list, and now we're about to be damn near off the list. You know, it's getting to that point, you know, where men are not even checking for us no more. And sometimes, I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, I'm not saying all Black women, because I believe there are some amazing Black women. And I'm pretty sure these amazing Black women don't even have these problems finding a man, when they're very much aware of who they are and they have done the work to really get the man that they want. And I'm not saying a 6-figure man, but just the man that they want. I don't believe that they have a hard time. But these women, and I'm not speaking about just Black women, because Black women, it doesn't necessarily have to be, there's Black women who are doctors, lawyers, who can't find a good ass man. And sometimes you have to ask yourself, are you doing the work? See, a lot of us, we tend to think, oh, I got the money, I don't need him for his money. But it's your attitude, love. You're not feminine. You're not peaceful. You're not grounded. You know, you're very much masculine, and no one wants he's in competition with her, you know? So yes, you might be very much independent, but you're so independent that you damn near you emasculating the man, where it's like, oh, fuck him, and da-da-da. You talking crazy, you know? So, and that's why I sometimes look at it and it's like, it's not even about the money. It's the fact that because most men who's making money don't care about a woman that ain't making much money. It's just the fact that it's how you make him feel. When I'm around you, do you make me feel good? Do you, can I vibe with you? You know what I'm saying? Because if a man, half the time, a man likes to be the breadwinner in the relationship. So So if you're the breadwinner, and let's just say, my sis, maybe she is probably working in a diner, she's not making that much money, but if he makes him feel like the king that he is, most likely a man will come and be like, I'm going to wife her up. And I'm not saying she got to cook and clean. Shit, some men don't even need that. Some men might say, I can get a chef or a maid. I don't need that. But the fact that when I'm with you, I feel like a king, then sis, I don't mind being with you. But a lot of us Black women tend to really emasculate a lot of these men. And I don't know, I don't know why. Maybe it's a generational thing. I'm not sure why it is, but sometimes I think as women, we have to sometimes take a step back and really evaluate ourselves. And I think that's a very hard pillow to swallow, to really break yourself down and look at yourself in the mirror for who you really are, and not who you want to be or who you think you are, but who you truly are as a person. Like, are you really a good ass friend? Are you really a good person to men? Are you really a good coworker? Are you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to really break yourself down. And I think that's really, really hard. And I think that's what Kevin Samuels does to these women. He's really having you think about a lot of these different things. Like, what are you doing every day? You know what I'm saying? And the first thing they do is attack him by saying, oh, he got to be gay. Oh, because I know I'm a 10. I know I'm this. But yeah, you might be a 10 in your hood, sis. But outside of that, you have real 10s. You have real alpha males, real gentlemen, real men out here doing the damn thing. And they're not checking for no woman like you, where every time I step to you, you acting like a wild animal. You talk in a wild animal as in you're disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? And it's just too much sometimes for a lot of, that's too much for any man. And I'm saying that only because I have a father and I have brothers. And honestly, I don't even like to go back and forth with my brothers, especially first of all, I'm a woman. And I'm not about to go back and forth with that whole, I said my piece, and that's just that I'm not going back and forth with you. Because first of all, that's too much damn energy. I'm too damn sensitive for that.
Ooh,
Like, and it's draining as hell to go back and forth. And first of all, to fight with my partner, like, there's nothing wrong with having a disagreement, but to fight with my partner, that's exhausting as hell. And then once you fight with him, now you're going 2 or 3 weeks without talking to him. That's another exhaust. You know, it's just, and you're not talking because you're prideful as shit, you know? And it's just like, why go through all of that when that's the one person you really want to be with, the one person you want to talk to, the one person you want to see, when you're constantly being attacked outside the world by your coworkers, by all type of bullshit. And when I come back to my peace, to my home, it's like we at war. So, and that's why I totally understand why so many Black men aren't checking for a lot of Black women, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying all Black women, because I believe there are some great and amazing Black relationships out here. But for a lot of you women who think you are at a 10, it's showing that you're not at a 10. You're not at the 10 that you think you are. You might be at a 10 in your hood, because a lot of those men are 5, 6. And when I say that, I'm not saying necessarily by their money. I'm talking about the insecurities, the lack of confidence, the ambition. Like, you don't have, you don't have the things that make up to be a alpha male. And alpha male don't necessarily mean by your bankroll. It's necessarily about the confidence that you have. Are you confident? The first thing a woman wants is a confident ass man. Same thing a man wants a confident woman beside him, you know? And if you just lack that, why do I even want to be with you? You know what I'm saying? Do you have integrity? Do you have morals? Do you have values? You know, a lot of these, you don't have these things. So and when it comes to women and men, you think, oh, as long as I look good, I got a pretty face and a fat ass. That's all that it is. But trust and believe, when you out there,
that ain't enough.
Amongst other women who have the fat ass, titties, the brains, who knows how to treat a man, who cook and clean, that's your competition, who knows how to have an intellectual conversation, who knows how to be amongst different groups of people and actually know how to articulate herself and not embarrass her man by talking about some dumb shit, you know? Because that's embarrassing as hell. I'm telling you, that's embarrassing. Because I would hate to be a doctor or lawyer and then I have my man next to me talking about, oh, something stupid. Like, whoa, you just embarrassing me. And then am I embarrassing you? Embarrassing yourself.
I can't take you to the company function.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So these are the things you have to be you have to be cultured. And culture don't mean traveling, just reading. Reading itself can take you to the next 5 levels with just reading, you know, and a lot of people aren't doing the work. And I think that's what pretty much that's what I get from Kevin saying is that as women and as men, if you want what you want, you have got to do the groundwork, and the groundwork starts with yourself. Oh, yeah. So, and that's just kind of, and that's why I said I personally like him. Now, I might don't like how he delivered. It's a little too harsh, but when I take my emotions out of it and I listen to exactly what he's saying, he's absolutely right. And his statistics is up there. Like, he's literally tells you that he definitely has people who have been married all because of they have made the steps to change who they are. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? To better themselves, not for the person, but just for yourself. I'm telling you, when you better yourself, you're naturally going to attract better people. But when you're in this down, low level vibration, you will attract low vibrational people. And you wonder why I keep attracting these same people, because honestly, I believe that you are mirroring all the things that you are. So when people come into your life and you wonder why they constantly cheating or certain things, it's because maybe they're mirroring back things that you need to work on. Not necessarily that you need to cheat, but maybe you don't love yourself enough, which is why you keep allowing the cheating to happen. Or maybe, just it could be a multiple things
or certain behaviors that could lead up to that. You don't check it from the beginning because I don't know if I don't want to lose this person. Well, you're gonna lose them anyways, because
you will.
They're gone emotionally, and they leaving you physically too. Yeah, another person. So But
so that's what's kind of what I got from him. I personally always liked his talks about certain things, and because he gives you a reality check. That's the thing. I think we get so caught up into like this media world as stuff. I seen the Beyonces and the Jay-Z's and the Kim Kardashians and stuff like that.
That's false hope.
It is, and you have to step back from that world of media and look at what's in front of you. Who are you? Because you're not the Beyonce. Sorry to say, sis. You're not the Rihannas of the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not that. And that's okay. Women need to learn how to stay in your lane. Men need to learn how to stay in their lane. You need to find out what I'm telling you, what's for you is going to be for you. It ain't going to miss you. Yeah. And a lot of women and men tend to just, I want to be here, and you're down here. You know what I'm saying? So, and that have nothing to do with money, because you can have a whole bunch of money and your mental is shitty. Your mental is shitty as hell. You lack confidence. Yeah, you might be a billionaire, but you lack confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, you're not alpha. You don't know how to seal a deal. You know what I'm saying? You don't know these things that women want. Same thing with women. So I mean, not to be repetitive, but that's just kind of how I took from what he has said. And to me, I personally agree. I look at his videos and I definitely, it make me check myself. Like, what am I doing? What do I need to be doing every single day, to change myself? Like, and not for a man to come and look at me, but just for me, to make me feel good, for me to wake up and be like, damn, I am the best that I can be today or tomorrow. This is the best that I will ever be. And that's all that matters. Like, if I know I'm the best that I can be, shit, that's all I'm not trying to aspire to be a Beyonce. I'm just trying to be the best Sasha that I was from fucking yesterday. So shit.
Yeah.
And if I can achieve that, I'm good.
No, it's because like, and this goes for men and women. Like, if you're only doing self-improvement, stand on your purpose and all this and that, for the sake of attracting the opposite sex, or a romantic partner or whatever like that, then what happens when you do attract somebody in your life, a romantic partner, but then where's the incentive to still keep self-improving, either during or if something happens in that relationship where it falls apart? Where's the incentive if that motivation was primarily to draw in that romantic partner? See, that's the problem that like men and women face, because they'll do, oh, I'm gonna hook them in and I'm gonna do I'm gonna do what it takes to hook them in, but I'm gonna stop putting in the work afterwards. And it's that's kind of like a manipulation, honestly, in a relationship.
It is.
And it's like, oh, I know what they like, and I'm gonna reel it in. But, and here's the thing, like, and that's why people have to, again, when the difference between somebody who is doing self-improvement, like to just attract a romantic partner versus like being, on their purpose and doing the self-improvement for themselves. I mean, and let's keep it real. There is a natural instinct of us where we're like bettering ourselves because there's a subconscious desire for, sexual attraction. Let's keep it real. Yeah. But at the same time, like, if the majority of that desire to self-improve, if like 80% of it is for you, then you are going to continue to do self-improvement during the relationship or whatever happens if there is an after that relationship. Now, if you continue to stay in that relationship, that's cool. Like, you will continue to do self-improvement because you know that you had yourself before you had this person. And we live in a society where we have people thinking, Cupid or Disney Channel has them thinking that two halves make a whole when it comes to relationships, when that's not true. It should be two wholes making one whole. And you have 1 times 1, not, 1/2, 0.5 times, plus 0.5. No, it's really should be 1 times 1 equals a greater whole, like two whole people coming together, not broken people, half broken people coming together to, because that ain't gonna last long. And you have a lot of people. I was just having a talk with a friend yesterday, and she was telling me that like a lot of her anger and a lot of her I guess the way she acts and the way she expresses her frustrations in an outburst inappropriately at many times stems from what she saw as a child between her parents. And so I was just saying, hey, have you thought about getting therapy? And because I was saying how, like, I'm not going to promote a product that I'm not using myself,
Right.
And so I was like, I'm just gonna share with you what it did for me these last couple of years. And it is really helped benefit me in many ways, helped me to look at myself in ways that I didn't really see myself in, ways that before, and just really evaluate, like, my triggers, evaluate, like, what makes me, what makes my heart sing, what makes me happy, or things like that, just all those different idiosyncrasies about myself. And so, and I said, I was like, hey, like, again, I said, I'm only sharing this with you and suggesting therapy because I've been through it myself. Like, obviously we have two different situations, but like, therapy is so, and it's not like, oh well, you don't have to face a divorce. It doesn't have to be like you just had a death of a spouse. Like, it don't have to be a super extreme thing, like, as far as, like, people think that, oh, I have to be on drugs and rehab and I'll have therapy. No, you can have, like, normal, like, issues, like, in your family or like stuff like that, and that has caused maybe it causes a thorn in your side, or like, it holds you back from becoming who you need to be, that whole person that I was talking about. You're still that half, you're still that 0.5, looking for another 0.5 to make a whole, when that's not how it should be. You should be that whole person that is attracting the other whole person to make a better whole. And she was like, yeah, I really, I think I really definitely, I'm going to start looking at different counselors and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, that's good. Like, I hope you find, something that works for you, because, like, seriously, like, this, like, because I said this too, because I said, at the end of the day, I don't care what you went through, and I don't care what I went through. What I went through is not your problem. What you went through is not my problem. Maybe somebody, did something to you in your past, family, friends, ex-boyfriend, whoever. That is not my problem. That is baggage that you're bringing to me in a relationship. And you're doing that person and yourself a disservice by bringing that in, not becoming that whole person, not dealing with those traumas, those triggers, and all those things that are keeping you at 0.5 rather than 1.0. And the thing is, like, people, it's just like, well, and it's just like, sometimes, like, hey, we want to blame it on society, or, oh, we want to blame it on because we're Black and we grew up in, we have all these adversities. But it's just like, at the end of the day, like, when you become an adult, like, nobody is going to hear that. Again, the world does not owe us an explanation for why you didn't get the job, for why you didn't get that girlfriend, boyfriend, for why you didn't get such and such. The world does not owe you explanation. And I think people don't realize that. And it's like, it's sad because you have a bunch of people walking around here not dealing with what they need to heal with. And and they're just walking around broken. So I don't know. Like, I think therapy is, really, really big. And I think, something we can dive into at another time, because we already almost hit the 2-hour mark.
I know.
Like I said, people don't realize our talks be, they be getting deep. We be diving into deep, deep waters. We at the bottom of the Pacific, y'all. They don't understand, you know what I'm saying? But all that to say is just that, like I just hope that, whatever talks that we have, like, I hope that it brings value to other people, the audience. And it's not about, putting people down. It's not about putting sisters down. It's not about putting brothers down. It's not, because people are always going to take stuff personally in the comments or whatever, in the audience. That's not what this is
just
about.
Trying to enlighten you. That's all. Enlighten you and bring awareness.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, like we're going through our own journeys too. I mean, shoot, I'm only 27. I ain't like, I'm not Mr. Know-it-all. Like, I mean, I've been through some stuff, but I still got a ways to go. And and I just think that it's good for men and women to have these conversations, because we live in a society where it's a bunch of echo chambers all the time. Men are talking with men, women are talking with women about, oh girl, niggas ain't, and and it's just like men are, saying what they're saying about women, and calling them hoes or whatever like that. But I think at the end of the day, that it's good for men and women to have these conversations. And I think it just brings, a sense of unity when, you have a lot of forces out there that are trying to, bring division and pit one against the other, and, saying, oh, you're better than him, and all this stuff. Like, it's just like, we just have to just it. Like, here's the thing. Here's what I say. I think it's good for people to come together and disagree, and explain why they disagree, and respectfully hear the other person's point without, interrupting, or, or just like, trying to keep that at a minimum, or just keep it respectful. Like, just keep it respectful. Because, like, these kind of conversations are hard. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, these are hard conversations. These can be awkward. These can be like whatever you want to say. But at the end of the day, the only way that things can improve, the only way that I improved to turn from a boy to a man, is by people pulling me to the side. Hey, have you thought about this, and this? Because you're doing this, and this, and this is the pathway that you're heading into, and it ain't looking too good for you, bro. And so, like, I'm glad that I had people pull me aside for those awkward conversations, or those weird encounters where it feels like, oh, here's this person just, telling me, because people don't like to hear, people don't like to hear the truth. People don't like to hear what they need to hear.
Of course they don't.
They just want to hear what soothes their feelings and what makes them feel good. That's why we listen to R&B, or we watch Disney, or things that make us feel good. We know that, life is not the happily ever after that, music and media portrays on TV, and then we get disappointed when we live real life. And so, again, that's all. I mean, I hope, that, we continue to have these great conversations, and we'll have cool topics. And if you guys have things that you feel like, we need to talk about, then hit us up,
Word.
and Sasha, tell them what's your Instagram. where they can
It's
slide
totally
into the
different from
DMs.
what we're talking about too. It's like have nothing to do with what we're talking about. But my Instagram is Sasha Iconic. That's all.
Yeah. So like, if you guys have any questions, or you want to reach out, or just like, interact a little bit, or just whatever, just keep it respectful. Respectful. But anyways, thank you guys for joining in. Peace. And we're gonna have this another time. We'll let you know. We're gonna try to keep it regular, either once every 2 weeks or once every week. We'll
figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Right.
All right, y'all.
Okay.
It's been the first episode of the Lyfe Counter Talks. I'm out.
Bam.
Sorry.